you were to look at a cow, the tenderloin would be up around this area, and then all the ribs would be here. So this is off the back. And the bones have been taken off of this one. And there's actually 3 parts of this meat that I use. There's the chain, the flap, and the eye. They call it ribeye because it has, when you look on this side, it actually has, it looks like an eye, and you kind of see everything that's in there. This little chunk over here, it runs all the way down, is the chain, and then on the other side, there's 2 sides of the eye. There's a large side and a small side. The small side is over here, and all this meat right there is actually the flap. So you're able to peel that off. So the first thing you want to do is find the fat line that's going to be in the ribeye off the chain. And then you can kind of see it, it runs right along the front, and you know, just take your knife, and you can, with a lot of meat, you can really do a lot of the butchering with your fingers, just once you get it started off. And you know, you just want to use the tip of your knife just a little bit and work it all the way down. I am using the 6-inch Wurstoff tonight. I actually still have the knives that I bought when I first started working there. I still use them in the kitchen every day. I like using smaller knives because if you're really only using this much of the knife, you don't need a knife that's out to here. It just gives you a little more control being able to do it, and you know, it's a little easier to handle. But the knives I had earlier, or still use every day, I've used them so much that if you hold a new knife up to my old knife, oh, I'm still doing the head thing? Okay. Yeah, it's actually like I've choppered half of the steel away. Alright, so getting back to this thing. So you pull the chain off, and the whole thing just comes right off. There's a lot of fat on here, so you want to trim some of that off. But all this is really good meat. You can grind that up for meatballs, for hamburgers. So you know, it's an economic way to. If you get whole cuts of meat, you save money. You actually get to enjoy yourself and have fun. So that's there. And now getting on to the flap part of this. You can kind of see there's 2 sides. So the large eye part is right here, and the small eye is there. And there's a fat line that starts here and runs diagonally all the way to the other end. And you can really just start off with your fingers and work that fat line across. And in my opinion, the best piece of beef in the whole cow is actually hidden inside of here. And I call it the fake tenderloin. It's this little Johnny right here. This guy actually sits completely encased in meat all the time and never really moves. So it's the little part that the cook gets to eat that breaks it down. But it's when you go through all the work, you save yourself a little snack. But it's the I must say I think it's better than a tenderloin. It's it's an awesome piece. So you just go through and you keep on taking the tip of your knife and working along. Once you get it about halfway done, you can flip it over and really just use the weight of the meat itself to take a lot of that off. And, you know, if you hit spots of silver skin, same thing, you just go back with your knife and just keep working it down. And you'll see that as you're taking it off, you're taking a lot of the fat cap and a lot of the silver skin that would normally be on the inside of your meat off. So you're actually going to make a tender piece like ribeye a little more tender. So you're going to taking this off. So this is the flap, normally set on top of there. And you could treat this just like you would flank steak, skirt steak. So you know, a nice herb marinade, and then throw it on the grill. It's really awesome for carne asada and things like that. So now moving on to the eye. When you want to clean this up, so same way as you would any other meat, you have silver skin and you have fat. The fat is the easy part to cut through, and you can actually just pull big chunks of that off with your fingers. When you get down to the silver skin, that's the part that's really chewy in your steak, like all the gristle and everything. You really don't want that. The best way to take that off and not get into the meat is work slow and always have your knife pointed up. You don't want to cut into the meat, and the silver skin is actually tough enough that you really can't cut through it. The best way to get into that, just start slow. You want to put the tip of your knife in and just wiggle it just a little bit. So this is keeping everything, off the meat. Keep it tilted up, and you just keep working it up and away a little bit at a time. If you take a little bit of meat off, it's okay. You know, you're not going to get 100% totally clean, but by keeping your knife up, you're getting mostly just silver skin off and not touching any of the delicious meat that's down here. So we'll just keep taking this guy off as going along. This also by breaking it down into this small portion size, when we get down to the steaks, when I start cutting out of it, it gives you a lot more control over the cooking temperature, and it gives you a lot, the even cookedness happens with it better. So you just want to flip it over again and then work the other way. Also more fat and stuff over here. And also there's normally a, once you get this off, I'll show you, there's a spot, this spot right here, it's not too bad today. There's normally a divot that runs into the center of the ribeye. So this is where the flap would start. You can either take it off now or when you cut it off later on, so you don't take too much of the silver, too much of the meat off with your silver skin. And you want to try to get most of it off. If you don't get 100% off, it's okay, because when you're down this small, it will melt away once you sear it.
Excuse me, Rich, in the restaurant, do you have somebody that specializes in this?
It's me.
Well,
I mean, everyone. So it's pretty much the meat station's guy responsibility. But there's so much prep to be done, and I come in. I enjoy doing this part, so it's hard for me to give up butchering to people because it's like my calm part of the day. And also when you're dealing with, we get whole Kobe Wagyu or ribeye in, and when you're talking about this piece, if we were getting it as Kobe, it would be $500 for the whole thing. So when we're dealing with something that's that expensive, I'd rather be the one that, if it gets messed up, I can yell at myself and not have to yell at a cook. So on the back, there's all the ribs would normally run through here. You want to, this part is where you can actually take a lot of the meat off. You really want to work right below where the ribs would be. But there's all the stuff in between is really delicious, and you can mix it in with that chain earlier. So out of one cut of meat, you're really getting 3 different types of steaks. You have your chain for grinding stuff up, and then you have your flap that you can use for grilling or searing or whatever, and then you have your nice eye that you're left with. So once you get most of this stuff off, it's time to we'll start portioning it and getting into seasoning it. One thing we do at the restaurant that deals with not only meat but also fish and sometimes a lot of vegetables, you can really taste the difference when you see on TV or see in restaurants, people just season something and throw it right on the grill or in the pan. That creates a salt crust, and we really only have salt flavor on the outside and not on the inside of meat. I'll season this and let it sit for at least 15 minutes. What that's doing is it's working the salt all in the inside and pulling out excess moisture. So you're actually kind of quickly curing / dry aging the beef. But when you get down into the middle of the part of the meat, you still have that salt flavor that sometimes is lacking. That's why if you have table salt out and you keep adding it to each cut of meat, it's because they didn't let it sit and season long enough. But we'll cut these into about 8-ounce steaks here and there. And also when you're down to this size, it allows you to control the portion size better, and you can also get better yield out of everything. So the bottom part you cut into 4 steaks, and the top you cut into 6, so obviously it gets a little bigger at that point. And don't be afraid to season it liberally, because you are gonna. It is meat, and it needs lots of salt on it. One thing that I know that either media or something has scared home cooks into not using salt. First of all, don't use that ionized whatever salt, that ground stuff. Just throw that in the garbage. Don't even buy it. If you know somebody uses it in the winter, you can use it to keep the ice from melting or whatever. But that stuff it's gross. You want to stay with kosher salt. It's a larger flake. It's it allows you to be able to control exactly how much you're putting on. Because when it's really fine, not really knowing how much you're actually putting on it. We actually have we use the same style of kosher salt at the restaurant every day because brand to brand, the flake actually changes on the, so like we use Diamond Crystal and then Morton's. So Morton's is a thicker granule than Diamond Crystal would be. So if you were to season the same pinch of salt with the Morton's, that would be saltier than it would if you were to season with the Diamond Crystal. One thing, a little fun little game I play with my cooks is to actually know, when you have so many people in the kitchen, a pinch is different to so many different people. You know, even if you watch TV, you want to add a pinch of this. What is actually, what actually is a pinch? I'll line them all up, I'll put a scale out and ask them to drop their normal pinch on the thing and gram it out. We've had stuff when I've done that, it's gone from 3 grams up to 10 grams. So if you're thinking, that's a plus minus 7 range of when you're seasoning stuff, it can lend to a lot, things being salty or things being under seasoned. And so you want to make sure this gets all the way mixed around and sits for a while. Also, while it's pulling the moisture out, it allows it to sear better. Once this sits for a while, you will have you'll see moisture come out. We'll actually put it on a paper towel and kind of get that excess moisture out. So if you didn't do that, it would steam on the outside first and then sear, as opposed to this way, it's just going to sear the entire time.